singing holy, holy Yahweh Almighty. We're singing holy.
Almighty Yahweh promises to gather everyone He gathers. And I am a Hebrew. We are Hebrew.
I am a Hebrew, and I was born in North Carolina.
I am a Hebrew, and I was born in Tennessee.
I am a Hebrew, born in Arkansas.
I am a Hebrew. I was born in Texas.
I am a Hebrew, and I am from Florida. I'm a Hebrew, and I was born in California.
I am a Hebrew, and I was born in San Diego, California.
I'm a Hebrew. I was born in Indiana.
I'm a chosen generation, a royal priesthood. I am a Hebrew, and I was born in Spain.
私はヘブルです。日本で生まれました。Soy hebrea. Nací en Puerto Rico.
I am a Hebrew from West Africa, Liberia.
I am a Hebrew, and I was born in Straitway.
We are Hebrew.
Oh, well, my sister.
Shalom, shalom, daughters of Zion. Sister Ashley here from the Straitway Truth Ministry. Thank you to each and every one of you who have taken time out of your busy life to tune in, hopefully to learn something about us or something about yourself. Give me a sound check if you're in the chat room tonight. Tens, if you can hear me well. Let's jump over to you and Georgia, Sister Jennifer. Say a few words, please.
Shalom, shalom. Blessings to you, daughters of Zion. My name is Sister Jennifer, and thank you so much for tuning in. Just like Sister Ashley said, it's an honor and a blessing to be here among you again. So, like she said, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules. We know we're busy, but we also know that you are as well. So we truly appreciate you being here with us.
That's right. And I like to do our acknowledgments. I like to give our thanks, and I hope that it captivates your attention. I hope that you're in agreement with us when we give thanks unto the Father and the leadership. So we're going to do so now. But first, Sister Jennifer, why is it important to give our acknowledgments and our thanks? Why would we do that first in the show?
We do that because we don't want to come off as, thinking that this is just us. We really have nothing to do with this. We are simply vessels, and we are actually fed by husbands and pastors and elders. These ideas, these things that we teach you all, we don't come up with these things on our own. So we are equipped by great leaders, and the Father is so faithful to us to pour into us, and has allowed us to really be able to minister to you all. So, we don't want to be haughty or prideful at all. It is not us who does this work, and so we just want to give all the glory and honor to where it is due.
Very, very well spoken, especially as we begin tonight's show. I want to say first and foremost thank you to my Father, our Creator, for loving me despite my own self. I want to say thank you, Father, as you are listening now, for everything that you are doing that we can't see, for all the love you express despite our desire for you, or our lack, or our love that is lacking of you, Father. You are faithful. You stay faithful when we fail you, and I love and adore you, Father, and I thank you for your mercy. I want to thank my husband for always being so dedicated to the Father and this ministry. You're always going to hear me say that. I'm not saying it in vain repetition. It is the truth, and he is never wavering, has never and will never. I want to thank Pastor for putting the saints first in all that he does, and for being a shepherd. The term shepherd not being spoken loosely, by the way. It is a huge job and a very high calling. For being a shepherd committed to the work of the Father, even through persecutions, accusations, hatred of men, the things that he has to openly speak that people are not going to understand, while some do. It's just a lot going on behind the scenes. And honestly, just for being our news, I speak for myself because I don't eat off of other tables. If you're new to the show, eating off of other tables simply means that you are choosing to listen to multiple pastors or multiple ministries or multiple men or women that call themselves people chosen of Yah or ordained by Yah, and it causes confusion. So Pastor has coined the phrase here, eating off other tables, because it is very detrimental. But Pastor is my news direction. He is the one that brings, I say news, meaning the real live occurrences in today's society, whether it be about cops, about silver, about this rape or that happening, whatever is going on out in the world. I appreciate it because I don't have to waste my time going through a bunch of news, a bunch of articles, watching a bunch of things just to try to find something that's going to edify. So it's a very special direction that he's given daily to bring about those newscasts, those things that are going to point us in the right direction. And I too wanted to thank the Offland sisters just for coming together in unity, determined to please the Father and live set apart. I want to thank you, sisters, all of you, for your submission to Elder Donnie and his wife, Sister Ajalee. I want to thank you, Elder Donnie, for being so determined to live set apart, sir, and leading the Offland Saints to be in one mind. It is not overlooked. And I want to thank each saint that is sold out as a sacrifice for the Father. You know who you are. And when you come together and you are truly sold out and you are collective in oneness with our mind and our spirit, you are bringing power and you're allowing the Father to operate through us. Such as, let's give an example, Sister Barb. A special acknowledgement to Grandma Barb, who has dedicated every minute of every day to servitude and offering her help to the sisters and many on the land, but she's just the one that comes to mind. And just for being an example against this slothful generation, that we can persevere and that we can push on, and age is not an excuse. I wanted to thank, lastly, just Elder Becker, if he is listening. I don't know that he's always able or is around the radio, but if you're listening, sir, thank you for your willingness. Thank you to every leader that may be listening to this. Special thanks from all the sisters and daughters of Zion. And thank you all, leaders, for your submission to the vision. Jennifer?
Hallelujah. I first of all want to acknowledge the Father. You know, I'm so thankful to the Father for just keeping us truly humbled by His grace that sustains us and His mercies that are new every morning that keep us. It's such an honor to be a part of the faith, and I just don't take such an honor lightly at all. I also want to acknowledge my leader, the master of our home, Elder Rufus, for leading and ruling this home very well. I'm thankful that Yah saw fit to place me under his rulership. I also want to acknowledge our wise shepherd, Pastor Dow, for leading us in boldness, for never backing down, and for being an abomination to the Egyptians, to the Egyptian mindset. And, you know, Sister Ashley, you talked about the videos. The videos are such a blessing. I remember being in the world and not wanting to watch the news because there was always such a negative spin on everything, and you just didn't know what to believe and what not to believe. And so it's an honor just to be able to have these informative videos that are done for the shepherd taking the time out of his day to make sure that we are fed on all fronts. So he doesn't just teach 1/10 of life. He's teaching the whole spectrum. So, you know, it's an honor to be in a ministry where we can actually look to that. I also want to just acknowledge Sister Tia Meridian. It was an honor to meet you this past Shabbat, and I truly look forward to seeing your family for Passover. So blessings to you all.
Absolutely, Sister Tia. We haven't forgotten about you. And also, Sister Ida, we received your letter of support. So thank you very much. Remember to consider these things, sisters, that you need to bring for a Passover trip, such as everything you would need to wear, bring, eat, or survive with for 3 to 4 to 5 days, okay? Not going to give the list, but consider the things you need for the Passover trip. Don't forget anything, all right? Remember to honor the saints when you arrive, not just those on home base, each and every person, okay? This is Passover. It's a very serious and severe time. Yah's eyes are upon us continually, even now, of course, but the much more so on Passover, on his set-apart holy feast. Remember to consider Straitway Creations. Please bring a small offering if you're able to help the cause, help Mother Carol, and support her as she works diligently, or Cat's Dental Products, as we talked about last week. Remember to bring your offerings and your submission and your sacrifice of praise. It's going to be amazing. Sister Jennifer, any Passover updates or reminders?
Yes, ma'am. I have an updated Passover list, and I've read the list, I believe, twice or 3 times on the broadcast, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it, but I just want to go over the items that I have here, and you can check off whatever you need to if you've already written this down. If you need to access it, you can go, if you have Facebook access, you can go into the Israelite Heritage of Straitway page, and you can find the updated Passover list for 2017. Now, this is a list of items that you can bring to just to help out, just to help when we leave Straitway, so that they are not left in a state of deficit. We want to make sure that we're a blessing, and these items are items that you can bring in addition to the offering that you plan to bring to lay at the shepherd's feet. So this will not be your regular offering. This will be above that. This will go right along with it. First item, raw honey. Second item, styrofoam bowls and or plates. Chinette is the best. Plastic spoons and or forks. Napkins. Kleenex. Paper towels. For paper towels, I have Viva Extra Tough. That's the best kind that we need. Paper towels, Viva Extra Tough. Aluminum foil, heavy duty, the large bulk roll, if you have access to that. Plastic wrap, the large bulk roll as well, Ziploc bags, gallon size, 39-gallon size trash bags, Dawn dish soap, and laundry detergent. So bulk sizes and extra good quality items are appreciated. If you don't have access to a wholesale store, then you can just triple up on regular quantities. So that's all I have.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So with that said, let's move forward, sisters. Tonight, there's going to be a lot of real talk, as always. Probably not a lot of, let's say, quote, scripture, chapter, and verse. Not even as much as usual. We're just going to talk back and forth, Jennifer and I. But if you know the word, it's going to be through and through our speech, of course. Okay? So if you know the word, it's going to be stated throughout the show, and not a lot of quotes. I want to humbly ask you to please listen according to the spirit of your mind, not your flesh or any. Let me tell this story. This came to mind when I was coming, Sister Jennifer. I don't even think I shared this with you. This was some time ago. It's been a while. I'll give you an example of something that you might deal with being the sister behind the microphone, okay? I had a personal phone call on my cell phone from a sister, and she just immediately started in by saying, if you are talking about someone on the show, then you should just go on and say their name. Say my name, she said. If you're talking about me, then you just need to say my name. Because it's not righteous of you. Okay, here she comes with accusation, right? It's not righteous of you to be speaking around the world, talking around the situation or around me, but and not, just say it like it is. What say you, Jennifer, about something like that?
Pastor speaks a lot, from the pulpit, and there's not only one person who actually gets hit. It's like a shotgun effect. More than one person is going to get hit by a shotgun. And so it's actually, I guess, pretty arrogant to think that we create a show or create a topic based on one person, because that's just not what we do. Pastor doesn't do that. He's obedient to what the Father tells him to say. And he's even said before, that you have a high and lofty opinion of yourself to think that there's one message created just for one person, because the thinking is just so far off when you think that way.
It's so true, and Jennifer and I are not bothered by those forms of conversations, or if you want to say accusations or attacks, because you keep yourself in what you strive to be, upright. And you have such a giving heart when you're in our seat, knowing the humility that it actually takes to express your stories, your testimonies, and anything that the Father has given you in order to bring edification to anyone else. And I think what we do across the board, really, sisters, is we make the mistake in thinking, and we've been taught this before, that let's say like this, however you think, you're actually thinking that someone else is thinking that same way. An example, I'm just using myself, okay? You have no clue how I think, okay? You get the manifestation of my expression or my passion on the show, or Jennifer's. Just pick anybody. You really don't know how your husband thinks. You think you do, right? You may think that, because Ashley and I's past is the same, we can really relate. I'm raw, she's raw. I had a friend like her, just like her. Some of these things can go across your mind. Maybe because we like the same things. We grew up listening to the same things. We're the same age. But you know what? And Pastor said it before. We're not on the same level. I did the gate video. Just even in that aspect, those living outside the gate, you're going to think different. Okay? And Jennifer even reminded me of a very powerful point that Pastor made. You remember, Sister Jennifer, in our discussion right before the show when we're just talking about the topic, do you remember Pastor's quote I'm referring to about lack?
refresh my memory. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, that's fine. You said he had done a video, and he had stated, basically we all lack. But he's saying, I'm the pastor, I'm the face of the ministry, you remember?
Yes, ma'am. I do remember. I was speaking on the humility of our leader. This is the leader of our ministry. And in a video he had done, he pointed out that, you know, I'm the pastor, and I'm not where I need to be. And you're not where you need to be, you know, speaking to us as in general. And I thought about the humility of a leader that would make that statement and who really genuinely means it. And so, you know, we need to have the same humility as well, that, you know, we understand that we're all striving, and we're not where we need to be, but we are striving. We don't have it all figured out. We haven't arrived. So if our leader thinks this way, then we need to follow the same thought as well.
Right, because we could even speak the same things. You may speak like someone else, but your intention is what Yah judges. Like Pastor has even stated, there's the man who may sin with his mouth, but not in his heart. Okay, so we have to understand the intention of not just the show, but in relation one to another. There are sisters that have experienced more death, more trauma, more hurt. You know, whether rape, molestation, all these things that cause so much pain in their life and in their history than I. Can I relate? Yes, but no. You see? So we're going to have different aspects of the way that we think, although common, right? All things are common. So we really don't need to judge one another wrongfully by misjudging the intent, like we could do for Pastor. You know, because he's saying this, it must be because he's a lustful man. Because he's bringing out the truth of biblical marriage, he just wants a lot of women. Because you see? So because of your defiled mind, you can easily attack or accuse or fabricate in your mind that the person in front of you is thinking the same way you think, or operating after the same vile, wicked imaginations that you have practiced going after. I hope this is going to make sense, because we are making the mistake of thinking ourselves to be equal with one another. This is really going to come together by the end of the show. If you're a sister who hasn't tasted freedom from demonic oppression, it would do you good to learn from someone who is free. Would it not? Or if you are a sister who is brand new, I mean just following 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 days, first time on the show, it would do you good to follow with all your heart, let the word teach you, and lay aside all suspicion. All right? It would do a lot of us good to say, you know what? I don't know anything. I don't know her intent. I don't know what she means. I know what she's looking like, but, you know, all these misjudgments and miscalculations that we have going on in our mind really set yourself up for offense later on. We really need to be able to confess, I don't know you, Father. I really don't know you, Father. Doesn't matter how many years you've been in the game or in the faith. You need to know that you don't know him. You need to know, I don't know your ways, Father. I need to learn. I need to ask, you know. I need to seek. I need to buy. I need to pray. I need to stop doing this, and I need to start doing that. We should understand our own state of mind. I need to stop assuming that someone is thinking like me just because she's talking like me, or she's my age, or we came into the faith at the same time, or, okay? We need to understand that there are people in their prospective places, and they can be used as benefits to us, but they're often overlooked. It's going to make sense. So Jennifer and I, we don't think alike, but we operate with one mind and one spirit. I'm not on Jennifer's level. I do not walk in Jennifer's shoes. I don't know what it's like to serve her husband daily. I'm over here in a different state. So there's a lot of things we can't relate to. We are not equal. So what am I really saying, Sister Jennifer?
We always have to be mindful that there's an order that Yah has placed. If I'm in the presence of mothers, I should be listening. They have so much more to offer me in wisdom. If I'm in the presence of Mother Bullock and we're talking about prayer, I'm listening. I have nothing to teach Mother Bullock about prayer. So to think that, that we're on the same level, everyone is where I am, it's actually a presumptuous thought. We all have different backgrounds. We all have different experience, and we've all overcome different things by the grace of Yah. Take, for example, Sister Ashley. She's lived on the land. She's got experience with community living a lot more than I have. So she's more mature than I am in some areas, and she can provide great help for me if I need it in overcoming and maturing in my own life, and vice versa. I have some areas that I can help Sister Ashley mature in and overcome as well. So, we have many members in one body, and all those members have different functions. So making a statement that everyone is where I am, we're on the same level, they can't help me, it's a level of deception, and you can easily fall into that if you lack discernment and humility that only comes from the Holy Spirit.
Very good. And for most of us, we're not going to say it with our speech that we, can't learn from her. We're all on the same level. But watch how we act. Watch how we don't sit at one another's feet or ask each other questions to try to learn and to try to actually spiritually mature and fight this battle together. An example of, Mother Carol going from sister to mother. Then she would understand what it's like to, okay, you're walking as a sister for years. Now Yah has made you a mother, okay? Yah has made you a mother. That's very powerful. That alone carries a lot of respect. It should be full obedience, submission, right, to her vision. If she makes a mistake, you shouldn't be the one telling her. You shouldn't be cutting her down. I'm giving this example. This doesn't happen, but just in reality, I'm showing you from one level to the other. So, she's not a sister anymore. Now she's my mother in Yah. Do you really think I need to sit at her feet? Yes. Do I have things to offer her? No. Sister Gina, 25 years in polygyny. I think I'm going to call her and just shoot the breeze. I'm just going to chit-chat and tell her all about my monogamy for 6 years, almost 7. I think she could learn a lot from me, right? We may not say those things, but that is how we are in character, okay? So anything, Jennifer, that's just the opening to get us going towards some deliverance talk tonight. But anything about, just holding on to self or pride? Any thoughts?
It's like when we're holding on to self, holding on to pride, you're not going to get deliverance that way. You refuse to see the order that Yah has actually established. Elder Rufus brought this up. He brings it up a lot about patriarchal rule. We always talk about, what's the next thing? What's the next thing coming? What's the next thing? And he says, we need to get patriarchal rule down. We need to understand Yah's order instead of holding on to ourselves, instead of holding on to what we know before patriarchal rule, because we're not going to go anywhere until we actually understand Yah's order and where he's leading and where he's guiding and where he's directing us. So holding on to the old man instead of loving the new you, just as Pastor Dow taught us, we need to stop focusing on the old and focus on the new instead of holding on. And it's, like you said, we don't put what we need to into the new man so that the old man can actually die. So we need to learn how to invest in the new man more and more every day so that old man can die.
And remember Pastor's statement that we don't hunger and thirst after righteousness. Sisters, you don't hunger and thirst after righteousness. That we are, he states, nowhere near the quality of people written about. But, Sister Jennifer, do you know that this statement, that we don't hunger, we don't thirst, that we're nowhere near the quality of the people written about, do you know that for the most of us, I would probably say 90%, maybe even more, it doesn't even penetrate the conscious. It doesn't even matter. There's no reflection on it. It's just distraction day after day. Got to do what I do. And no change, no hunger and thirst. More and more and more of you, y'all. This is what I need, y'all. I'm walking at the same pace I was walking at in the beginning. I'm not moving anywhere, y'all. I'm content, y'all. I'm burying my talents, y'all. But we need to reflect, Jennifer, on a comment like this. We need to reflect on our lack. It is hard. It is tough to continually remind yourself of what you are lacking. It takes a mental strength to maintain a righteous balance of joy in the Father and the Holy Spirit, as well as remorse. We're going to talk about that. It takes a strength that you would be surprised that you have lying in you if you have the Spirit. So, Jennifer, why wouldn't we reflect? Why doesn't it penetrate the conscience of most of us that we do not hunger and thirst for righteousness, and that it can be spoken to us and still no change?
You know, in one of Pastor's videos, he simply said the answer to your question. He said it's self-righteousness. He said anytime a miracle takes place, you know, then that's the master working with you, confirming the word with signs following. So if you're operating in self-righteousness, you don't have a true need for Yah. So there's no true hunger for him. There's no true thirst for him because you're righteous within yourself. And as a result, we don't see a need to, you know, seek the old ways and the old paths. And our heart won't be penetrated like the hearts of the people of old. So it simply is self-righteousness.
So true. So blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Filled. If you are not filled, you will always be misled and question those who are filled, because you will not be operating like those filled. You will be lacking. You will be needing to sit at the feet of those who are filled in whatever area that you need help from. Blessed are ye that hunger now, for ye shall be filled. Blessed are ye that weep now, for ye shall laugh. And I was speaking, with Grandma Barb, Sister Barb, about, tonight's direction for the show. And as soon as I even barely made a statement about it, she just rolling with the same things I had in my mind. I'm not going to, quote her because I don't want to misquote, but just in our conversation, she was stating some very truthful, very painful statements concerning our generation. I say that, but it's the, the late 20s, the early 30s, our generation. So if you fall into that, I pray that you really make a change after tonight's talk, because, as I said, I'm not going to quote her, but based off of the conversation that we had, there's so much slothfulness, so much excuse making, a lack of work ethic. It just blows me away. We are so clean and we can't get dirty. We can't do anything. We got to sit on our ass. We got to take breaks. We got to take water breaks. We got to find reasons to sit down. We can't keep moving. We got to make excuses, whether it's one child, two child, three children, one husband, whatever it is. Your mind is continually formulating excuses. You didn't have anyone to follow, to set any form or pattern of work ethic in you, and now in the faith, you are formulating your spiritual walk after your natural walk in life, and changes really need to be made. This is a very, very wicked and perverse generation that we are a part of, and in order to come out of it and be set apart, you have to make such tremendous changes and walk so contrary to the world to even bring delight to our Father. Pastor, Sister Barb, Mother Carol, even my own mother who's not in the faith. These are a generation of work. Do. Get up. Move. So this generation that I'm a part of, it doesn't want to work for anything. Hunger? Psh. Hunger for righteousness? Thirst? This is a longing. But we're just as desolate as any generation ever before. And we are in great need, and we are not filled. Filled. They shall be filled. If you hunger and thirst, you will be filled. Jennifer?
You know, you talked about a generation of excuse makers, not wanting to work for anything. When you put into practice, and this is from another one of Pastor's videos, the application of applying knowledge, you should produce something. But he said doubt, fear, and unbelief, they are going to hinder you, and they will cause you to become non-responsive and complacent. Just like the servant in Matthew 25 who received one talent, and he buried it. His master was trusting that he would be faithful and increase what was given, but instead, you know, he was full of excuses, and he allowed fear to lead him. You know, same with the 5 foolish virgins who displayed such a mentality of entitlement. Give me your oil. You know, like Mother Bullock talks about, kind of hanging on somebody else's anointing. But when it's gone, then what are you going to do? You know, give me your oil. So it's the same mentality when we pull on others, but we put no work in ourselves.
And you've kind of stated it, so let's go there, because we need to remember the 5 wise and the 5 foolish virgins. We repeat this a lot in in this show, Matthew 25. But why were they foolish? Because they had lamps and they didn't have oil. That is the reference in the scriptures or in the Gospels of why they were foolish. They did not have oil. The wise virgins had oil. Everyone's sleeping. All of them. Foolish and wise. Everyone's sleeping. And the cry is made, here comes the bridegroom. Everybody gets up. They scurry. Right? Everyone trims their lamps, which is a must if you understand owning your own oil lamp. So everyone's trimming their lamps, but the foolish, with their lazy, passive, lethargic mentality, oh, now it's time for oil. Hey, wise virgins, give us oil, please. Our lamps, they're out. And this is what shocks the Christian culture right here, this part of the story. Because the wise virgins say, hell no. There isn't enough for both of us. You go to those that merchandise oil, and you buy from them. Oh, says the foolish. Okay, thank you. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Let me go by. Gotta hurry. Bridegroom's coming. Okay, got our oil now. Do-do-do-do-do. Oh, we didn't know that he was coming in the moment and the twinkling of an eye. Yes, you did. You had the same word presented. The same fight to fight, the same pastor, the same fellowship, the same sisters. You're in question, virgin. How can the door just shut right in my face? I can't believe this. I'm standing outside. I'm freezing. I'm wet. Here I am outside the door. I'm beating. I'm here. Open the door. I need in. I need help. I need you, Father. It's too late, Jennifer.
You know, again, the spirit of entitlement is always going to blame someone else. I haven't prepared because, you know, there's always somebody else's fault. I don't have what I need because they didn't give it to me. So we really have to check the accusations and the excuses that are in our minds. You know, our leader gives us no room for excuse for anything, nothing at all. When you look at the leadership, we have no excuses because it's been done. You look at the things that have developed on the land, the things that have been done since the time that they first got on the land, the time that they first actually learned about the faith. There's been no excuses at all. And so we have no reason whatsoever to make excuses.
And I know I'm a part of a suffering generation because I have mentally tried to formulate every excuse possible on how to get out of everything and how to master the flesh and all laziness. That's me, mentally. But I have literally steadfastly resisted any form of this generation. You know, this generation will also present a spirit upon all of us, new mothers in our generation, to not touch your child, not discipline them, not apply biblical working rules in order for submission and order to be followed in your home. You, every one of you in this generation, you are fighting a spirit that is opposing Yah's order in disciplining your children. You are either submitting to Yah or submitting to the voices. And with me fighting and resisting against all the excuses I would love to make, it is by the power of Yah, of course, Him and Him alone chief, but it is also by following the generation before me that is not excuse makers. I'm talking about the righteous, because Pastor makes some very painful truths about his generation and their rebellion. But that's not the focus. The work ethic and the true natural drive to get things done is greatly missing. There is a spirit ministering to this generation to sit and do nothing, to occupy your time and be distracted with ease. So wait. You know, all this time, you know where to go. I'm talking to the foolish. You know where to go. You knew exactly what you needed to do. Every one of you out there, you know what you need to do. You know where you need to go to get what you need to get, and you know where you need to buy. But Matthew 25, yeah, it talks about the foolish. You didn't go, and you didn't buy. So, sisters, the question is the power here at this ministry? Yes, ma'am. Is the Spirit here at this ministry? Yes, ma'am. How about the anointing? Is it here? Does the Father reveal all things that we are subject to, of course, in the flesh? Yes, here. Does He work miracles? Yes, through the men of Yah. Okay. So how many of you are really increasing in those things yourself? No one else. I'm talking about you. How many of you are buying oil now, sitting at the feet of someone who has oil? Because you know where to go and you know where to get it. You know how to buy it. Jennifer?
Very true. You know, I look at the sisters in Texas, Sister Erica, and when she started out, when we first met Sister Erica, and what she, you know, the way that she's increased her talent is really beautiful. She knows a lot about home birthing. She knows a lot about tinctures. She knows a lot about healing and deliverance. And just to see her develop is a very beautiful thing. She had the opportunity to live on the land at Straitway and to be fed, you know, every day. And she didn't take that time for granted. And she's still growing, as a matter of fact. So, you know, that's just one righteous example. You know, the sisters on the land, they are beautiful examples. I remember when I first came into the faith, and, you know, I remember thinking how humble these sisters were, sharing their experiences with me just to kind of help me along. You know, they didn't have to go back 10 years ago and share their story with me, but they did. And it helped me. It really helped me greatly.
I want to share with you all what my early conversion was like. Not you know, setting myself up as anything, but always giving honor to the aged brothers and sisters that are here before me, establishing a very peaceful, great, sound piece of land that I could come partake in, okay? So I'm actually joining into a body of believers that have already gone through what I'm about to tell you I went through. So I think, honor belongs unto them first. Everything I have has been received. So I remember I traveled here to the land every weekend, just like some of you, if you weren't so far away. Brother Steve, Sister Linda, they would knock down our doors if they were an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours away. But I travel here every single weekend, every scripture study. I never missed, never. Yes, it was a little over an hour away. That's nothing, I know. But because you're excuse makers, if you were living just an hour away, you would find it much more easy to join the comfort of your home and sit behind your screen. I have to make those powerful points. I wanted fellowship, and I wanted to be around the people. I spent the night every single weekend, what the world calls Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and drove over an hour every Monday morning to go to work just to turn right back around on scripture study night and come back here and spend the night again. Every time I was sleeping with Mother Barb, who sacrificed years, literally years, of her weekends for me. I sat at Grandma Barb's feet day in and day out for her information, what she had. I asked Sister Vicky innumerable questions. To this day, I still ask her questions. I prayed, continually for Sister Diane at the time because of a tragic accident that she had had. It actually kept us separate in the beginning because she wasn't in a place physically to be an asset, per se, if I can say that. I couldn't sit with her and glean anything from her at the time. That came later. I spent countless hours with Pastor. I spent countless hours with Mother Carol. I studied deliverance manuals because I was jacked up. Do you hear this focus, sisters? I was so jacked up. There wasn't a single person in my focus. There wasn't a single offense in me. There was no sister that I had any issue or ill will towards. I didn't have an evil eye. I literally wanted to be amongst these people day in and day out because whatever they had, I wanted to partake in it. I was the one that was lacking. I needed help, and I needed help from them. And they are the tool that Yah used to get me to wherever you may think I am today, which is far from where I need to be. But I needed Yah. I needed great deliverance. Some of you have been here for years and you haven't even tapped into what is great deliverance. You will never even be able to testify what great deliverance is even like. You will not be able to understand my proclamation of great freedom and a sound mind because you won't tap in to the Spirit of Yah. I need to buy oil, Jennifer. I need more now. I am empty. That's what I'm saying then. I am empty. I am void of Yah. Look at the light on these people's countenance. Look at where they have come from and where they have been. Look at what they've been through to build this place for me. I can't come in thinking I know what they know. Come in trying to move them out the way and tell them what to do. I made my mistakes later, I'll tell you that, because I didn't bring a lot of submission once I started working out my flesh. But I was headstrong on attacking every spirit in me so that I could deal with me. That's the initial phase. The initial phase of deliverance, as Mother Carol teaches. You are dealing with what has been happened to you, what's going on with you, the emotions flowing through you, your diseases, your symptoms, everything that is tormenting you. That is the initial stage of deliverance. Grandma Barb gave me innumerable documents. She would send me emails at work almost daily. If Pastor preached in the dining hall, she would send me the synopsis, the scriptures that he taught. She logged in hours for me. She would send me books, share all her books, share all her manuals. There was nothing that she withheld from me. All the pamphlets, all the copies of preachings from years and years back. She had been in it, I think, at 10 years at the time. All the workshops and the deliverance workshops that she had, it was not withheld from me. And you know what's interesting? She still has this same amount of information at her fingertips right now. And who is knocking down her door to get it? I'm not saying none of you aren't, because maybe you are. But I'm trying to inspire us to get up off our do-nothings and do something and buy some oil because it's getting late. And all this, Grandma Barb, with the intent to pour into me everything she already knew. Not thinking, well, you know, if I give her everything, I might not get it back. If I let her borrow this, it might not be returned. If I teach her what I know, maybe she'll know what I know, and then maybe I'll be forgotten. But suppose I decided, Jennifer, to come to Straitway, like some of us or some of you. Empty lamps, no work ethic, no care, no need of Yah, no need of the saints, no need of change, no need for deliverance. Week after week, every single one of you have the same jacked up demonic torment I had. Don't lie. Now remember, you hunger and you thirst. Because me, Ashley, I'm not the same character as my ancients. I do not have their stability. I do not have their culture. I do not have their zeal. I am not filled with the Spirit as they were. But you know what I'm doing? I'm buying. And I am going to achieve perfect peace in this life. I am going to have oil in my lamp. Jennifer.
You know, Sister Ashley, you tell the story about when you first came into deliverance and came into the faith. And I remember coming into the faith and experiencing deliverance for the first time. And I remember, you know, we were keeping the commandments. We were keeping the law, and I was pretty new at keeping the law. And I remember thinking, wow, this is what I've been missing the whole time. Deliverance and the law. You know, that was missing from my life. And when I learned about, you know, the fact that I can actually quiet my mind, I can get these spirits out of me, these things that are controlling my thoughts and that are ruling my mind and that are just wreaking havoc on my body, wreaking havoc in my mind, I can actually be free from that. I remember pouring myself into the deliverance manual, pouring myself through the scriptures and you know, writing out index cards and, you know, just really learning how to speak the word over me, really learning how to fight and how to engage in the warfare, because I didn't understand that there was a battle. I didn't understand that there was a battle beyond the physical of what I could see. You know, I've heard it talked about before, but we didn't really engage in it from the church that I came from. So I remember pouring myself into that, and we were only able to come once a month. We were only able to visit Straitway once a month. But I remember committing that, okay, every time I go, I'm getting more deliverance. Every time I go, I'm going to be prepared to get more deliverance. And it even got to the point where, you know, the Father was like, you know, you really impressed on my heart that I needed to be equipped to help other people as well. So I started pouring myself into the deliverance manual, pouring myself into, I would call Straitway, not to shoot the breeze, but, you know, I remember talking with Sister Ashley. I remember talking with Grandma Barb. I remember speaking with Sister Diane about deliverance. And, you know, they would give me their time. They would be cooking, but they would still give me their time. I remember speaking with Mother Carol. She helped me a lot. You know, giving me pointers and tips and wisdom on different spirits and things that I hadn't even considered before. You know, things that I wasn't even necessarily struggling with, but I knew that it would help somebody else because I was so grateful for what he had set me free from. I was grateful for the new life that I was able to actually walk out. I was grateful that I wasn't hearing those same condemning voices like I used to hear, and I just wanted everybody else to be set free. So I wanted to be in a position where I could actually help everyone else. And so, again, what helped me was the humility of the sisters at Straitway who had been through deliverance, but who lowered themselves down to my level so that I would understand. They didn't speak to me in a form that was high or that was haughty or that was just too lofty for me to even attain. They spoke to me and they met me right where I was. And so I desired to do the exact same thing.
All right, Sister Jennifer, there's a question in the chat room. I want to ask the question, make a small statement, and go to you for the answer, please. Let me pull it up. how do you distinguish between sitting at someone's feet and pulling from someone the wrong way? If I'm not mistaken, this would mean, disrespecting their time or knowing that someone may be busy, not needing to pull on them at the inappropriate times. I'm assuming that would be the wrong way because when we say sit at someone's feet, of course it's not literal, right, Jennifer? You're not literally taking every moment of someone's time, but it's all based upon the need that you have at the time. And with me saying that, Jennifer, please address the question as well as us being so scattered in captivity. Address that aspect that you don't have the physical feet to sit at. How can we answer sitting at someone's feet?
Right, sitting at someone's feet basically means that you are seeking their wisdom. You're quieting yourself enough to actually hear the wisdom that they are going to impart to you. You're not trying to speak over them. You're not trying to assume that you already know. You're, when you sit at someone's feet, you're in a lower position. You're actually in a humbled position. You're not standing over them. You're actually submitting yourself to them. So, in your spirit, in your mind, you're actually lowering yourself and you're acknowledging that, okay, this person has authority over me and I need to sit and listen to their wisdom. So that's what the term sitting at someone's feet, you're waiting on wisdom. And as far as pulling from someone the wrong way would mean basically that, you're going to go to them for every single thing. You're not going to go to the Father first and try to figure it out, on your own with Yah. You're always going to go to that person first. You're going to sit at their feet. Let me come sit at your feet. Let me come sit at your feet. Instead of going to Yah first and foremost and then trying to work it out. And if it's something that you don't quite understand or something you can't quite figure out, then you go to that person of wisdom and say, you know what, I've been dealing with this and I don't quite understand it. Can you please help me out? So that's the difference.
Very good. And being so far away, I know Sister Aya, she will often, as we correspond in email, let me know, and she's in Finland, she'll talk about the things that she's purchased, the manual or the book, following the articles and things that we have here on the land as we've spoken in times past. So, sister, in the chat room, if you need some direction on some purchases, if you'd like to cross some things off your wish list as you buy them, please call in. Speak with Grandma Barb, if that's okay, Grandma Barb, that I throw you out there. But she's willing to, give you some really good resources of the things that we start with. And y'all know and hear me say all the time, just because you start with the books, you don't end with the books, because the ministry of the Spirit here takes you well past any book that I've ever read on spiritual warfare. There's no book that has come into the hands of the saints here that we can't say we already know, with the exception of, okay, there's some demon groupings and spirits that may be classified differently. You understand without me rambling. But we get down and dirty with deliverance here. That's what we do. So what's the deal, sisters? Just speaking real again, what is the voice inside of you that's driving you to serve the Father? It can be fear of hell, I think I had some of that early on, the fear of loss of salvation. And it's interesting because you never had salvation to begin with. And now you're given the salvation and you get the fear on the other hand. Amazing tactic from the enemy. But it should be fear of lacking righteousness, fear of a godly fear of not being holy, not entering in because you didn't have the oil. That's what should be driving you to serve the Father, not a condemnation or any other voice. You begin to learn the nature of the Father's voice as you mature with Him in a relationship. What voice is driving you to be lazy? Is it even driving you at all? Is it just so subtle, so passive? What voice is transforming you? Where are all the workers amongst us? Where are those in our generation that are really driven to get the job done, that are not slothful in work? For the most part, we can't work and talk at the same time. And I don't even know how we keep our jobs. It's amazing. It's just amazing how far we have fallen. But your effort, as I said earlier, in the natural will be your spiritual effort. Elder Rufus did a video this morning. I watched it, and he even talked about, the spiritual is very important to glean first, just being the discernment that you need, right? And then the natural drive is important. He spoke on both the spiritual and natural really briefly, but remember, your effort in the natural, the way that you've always been, is going to carry over to your spiritual effort. And once again, I always just throw out percentages, but let's just be real. There's probably less than 10% of us who are actually going to make a permanent change from bad to better. I mean, a literally huge transforming leap forward. I see a lot of stagnant people, a lot of stagnant sisters, still stuck in the past, still stuck on what someone did to them, still stuck on the family curse and the family generation, the things that bound you when you were a little girl. We have got to move forward. So, Jennifer, what's the answer to this? It's just a question I had in my mind, because there are sisters willing to be used in deliverance. There really are. They're out there. I mean, the desire for the Father is there. And they want to be used in the ministry, but they are not. And what I mean by that is, they want to be used in deliverance, but there's no deliverance going on. So maybe that's the reason. But I just wanted to lean to you on speaking on the condition of the person. If you are a sister that is desiring to be used of Yah in deliverance or in any aspect of his walk, Sister Jennifer, speak on the condition of being a willing helper, your requirements, and then also please speak on the condition of the person that is needing help. Talk to me.
Yes, ma'am. Being a willing helper, you must have a willingness to help others. First and foremost, you have to have experienced freedom through deliverance or healing, and you see a valuable change in your own life. And as a result, you're so excited to help others receive great levels of freedom as well, just like you have. There's much investment in, studying and listening and applying the teachings that are given and applying them in your own life so that you can speak with wisdom and experience when helping others. There has to be just a genuineness about you. You genuinely, truly want to see people set free. You have to be approachable. It takes a lot sometimes for people to open up. So you must also make sure that you're not critical of what others might be dealing with, but just really willing to deal with them in truth. And then you just have to let people know that you are available. There's a lot of conversations that take place, and sometimes there's a lot of missed opportunities. Somebody might say, I had a sister say to me this past Shabbat, so, all right, when do we get deliverance? What happens now? And I was like, sister, you just grab somebody and you just let them know that you want deliverance. Whoever you'd like to go to. I can help you, or you can go to another sister. So that right there puts out that I'm available. But if that sister doesn't want to go to me, she wants to go to somebody else, and I'm fine with that as well. I just want her to know that I'm available. So a lot of times we talk about deliverance, but we don't make it known audibly that we're available. So we have to put that out there. And then the condition of the person needing help, you first and foremost have to be desperate to be set free. And you must really, truly desire the help. You can't have your own thoughts or notions of what that help is going to look like. Mother Carol may even direct you to someone else to help you in a certain area, but if you already have made up in your mind that, well, I don't believe that sister can help me, I want Mother Carol to help me, then you're not going to get very far. So if Mother Carol trusts another sister to help you, then you need to follow and trust her direction. You have to be humble, and you have to really understand that you're the one that needs help. So now is not the time to be prideful or to be a know-it-all or to think that you have it all figured out. And you have to be willing to follow the instructions that are given. So those are just a few things that I had. I'm sure there's more that you can add, Sister Ashley.
To be a deliverance worker, you must get deliverance. Absolutely imperative. I didn't start out with any desire at all to help anyone else. I was literally that jacked up. I would have spirits burning in my hands, sensations in my pinkies, and then it would move to my left hand, my right hand, it would jump back and forth. You would just go about your daily routine out in the world, like maybe go get a prescription, get some antibiotics, deal with it, do whatever. But I'm coming to the faith. I'm reading manuals just for myself. I'm not thinking about nobody else, because I'm sitting amongst the supreme cream of the crop remnant here. So I'm just noticing manifestations just continually, because I'm praying these things out. I'm reading, I'm doing my study, and these things are coming to the forefront. I'm not suppressing or hiding anything. And I remember I got to a point where I thought I was getting deliverance too much, and I stopped, and Pastor came to me and said, you need to be diligent. You need to, basically aggressively attack these spirits in you, sister. Probably because he noticed I took a big pause. I'm amongst people that ain't getting no deliverance because they done been through it. They done had deliverance week after week, day after day for years. You ever heard their stories? So I'm coming in thinking, I'm just like, what is wrong with me? So you got to get deliverance to understand deliverance. And you got to get past what Mother Carol has taught me, the 2 stages, okay? Let's take this personal for a moment. This makes a lot of sense when she said it. The first stage of all of our deliverance, I mentioned briefly earlier, you're going through, as women, the emotions of what has happened to you. Being the victim of the abnormalities and the satanic attacks from generational curses, etc., all these occurrences throughout your life. You're dealing with everything that has happened to you. As you mature, you continue diligently deliverance, but you're going at it now from the aspect of everything you have done, everyone you have wronged, everything you have committed wrong. See, a lot of people stay in the first part. I have had this done to me, this done to me, this done, they stay there in deliverance. A lot of people don't get any deliverance at all, and they just believe, okay, I'm just going to walk this out in my prayer life, take all this to the Father, and nothing's going to manifest in you. There's way too much pride for anything to come up at the forefront and give an outward manifestation to say, hey, I'm a demon, I'm here, I'm in your finger, Ashley, I'm burning right now. So it's very important that you first and foremost be an example. So be real with yourself. If you hadn't gotten any, you've been in the game for years, what are you doing? What are you doing? I said in times past, just using Sister Carolina as an example, this is a sister that I foresee, it's just my personal opinion, will be a great deliverance worker. She's a go-getter. She wants to help. She wants to do it. She's received deliverance, and she's always asking questions. So she sat around, Sister Haley, always getting deliverance. I don't have to see your deliverances or be a part of them for you to be getting deliverance, by the way. That's important because a lot of you may be getting it behind the scenes. Yah knows. But you need to be progressing forward. And everyone's not going to have it in their heart or be, used in that manner to be a deliverance worker. That's fine, too. But I will say, again, Sister Carolina, she's willing. I'm throwing her name out there. We got a sister that's willing, and she's able to help some of you in deliverance. Go to her. Learn from her. Ask her. If she doesn't know, she wants to know, so she's going to go to the right person. Now, if you are doing all that you know to do to change, and all that you know to do to get a hold of some oil, then this kind of talk that we're having tonight is just going to motivate you to continue doing what you're doing. But if you're not and you've been found slack, as Mother Gina refers to the woman who is found slack with her husband, I don't know how you may respond to something like this. I really don't. But you can be motivated nonetheless, motivated for great change. What say you, Jennifer?
Also, you learn a lot during mass deliverance. If you've had the honor to be able to participate in a mass deliverance, I learned a lot there. I remember helping with mass deliverance, once I got acquainted a little bit with deliverance, and I remember just kind of helping the sisters at Straitway. They were the lead. They were the lead person that were actually helping with deliverance, and I was the one that was just kind of following their lead. And I learned a lot from that. I really did. So, when the opportunity presents itself, you have to be available to help so that you can learn as well. Don't just, kind of sit in the back and, not get involved. You have to get involved if you want to learn. That's the only way that you'll learn is hands-on. But you have to be getting deliverance yourself first and foremost.
Forgive me for cutting you off early, sis. I have some sisters that want to sit in with me, to learn. Sister Lisa being one of them. There's multiple, and I just want to say, if you're getting the deliverance, feel free to allow them to come in, so that we can just operate in one body, so we can just let some of these walls go. I know sometimes I do work with people with very personal, private, intimate situations that it would take a lot of maturity for you to even sustain in your mind. Some of it is that painful, very realistic things that go on. So don't come here and take advantage of being around us. It's not all shoot the breeze. If you got questions, ask. You're looking at sisters who, not myself, I'm not 20 years, but there are sisters here that are pushing 20 years of living set apart. Sister Diane is great one-on-one. That's her use, her function. That's what she does. You want to speak to her one-on-one? I guarantee there's not much that she's not going to be able to direct you or answer. She will get an answer for you, like immediately. So you just need to know each of us. We are tools before you. So most of our conditions, most of our listening audience, Jennifer, I believe, would be, living alone, maybe in an apartment or somewhere in the city. Not too many homesteaders listen to us, but they're there. Maybe living with just immediate family, mom, dad, brother, sister, or husband, family, that kind of thing. So the typical life of our listeners is going and coming to work, doing your daily task, day after day. And you gotta question yourself, where's the change in my life? Where's the truth in my life? Where's the spirit? Where's the power? Where's the anointing that is at my fingertips? I can't keep doing the same old thing as Pastor teaches and expect change. Where's my freedom? Where's my freedom? If I'm hearing testimonies of others' freedom, I can partake in that too. I gotta get up. I gotta drive towards this freedom. But the freedom that is out there at our fingertips all over YouTube is, if you're black, you're Israel. Oh, hallelujah. What freedom it is, Jennifer, that you are black. You are sealed. That's the kind of foolishness that's out there. Or, and we teach, if your name is written down, you're not guaranteed salvation. You got to go. You got to buy. So when you start tuning in, sisters, you're not on the level of some of the women in this ministry. The 20-plus year set-apart sisters. Doesn't matter if they look friendly or they don't speak to me when I come there. I don't see them in the videos. That's not the point. There are different levels. There are people at your fingertips to help you while they are yet alive, to better you in this walk. So sit down, right? Sit down, shut up, learn. Most importantly, learning about yourself. Learn your issues. If you were the enemy, what would you do to you? How would you attack you? Start trying to think like him. There's nothing demonic about it. You start to begin to put puzzle pieces together of how he's attacking you, the trigger words that he's speaking to you. Everything starts to formulate and fit together. You become a better deliverance worker by the insight you have on the enemy and the demons inside of you and how he's worked with you. That's so important. That's why you can't skip past not getting any deliverance and just be understanding deliverance or becoming a worker in it. So it's important that you want to get your hands dirty. You know, you want to come out of yourself. So just going back to Sister Carolina, you know, we had just spoke last Sabbath, and she had a good question. I asked her this evening to ask me that question again so that I didn't reword it wrong, and it may come up in a few minutes. But we've spoke various times throughout her journey, you know, and she's always asking, what do I do about this? What do I do about that? If I am the one that can help her, because she'll tell you, I'm not going to be the one that can help her about everything. She's not going to go to me about everything. That's another aspect of sitting at someone's feet. You know, even though there's one counselor, it's more like, hey, marital counsel, I'm going to go to Mother Carol. That's one counselor right there, right? Deliverance, I'm going to go to whatever, Grandma Barb. You know, so one counselor in one area and stick with it. So because, I don't know, what say you, Jennifer, about many counselors, about confusion that could come?
Yes, ma'am. You know, sometimes when you have many counselors, it could be that you go to one counselor and you don't get the answer that you were looking for. And so then you go to another counselor and you don't quite get the answer that you're looking for again. So you go to another one. So you've been to 3 counselors so far. You get the answer that you want from the 3rd counselor, but now you're confused because you've received 3 different answers, and it's really a self-inflicted confusion. So there's a reason that, you know, we don't need to just, you know, go out there and carelessly put our business out there and not trust in what the one counselor was saying. So you have to have a level of faith and a level of trust as well when you're going to the one counselor, and you have to understand, okay, the reason that I'm going, you know, make sure first and foremost that it's a mature counselor, someone who you can trust. If it's someone who's mature and you know that you can trust them, then why is there a need to go to another one? So, you know, again, you have to be willing to hear the things that you don't want to hear, because more than likely that's the counsel that you need, the thing that will get you to change.
Very good, because something inside of you has to burn for change. You know, you really have to long for it, hunger and thirst for it. You need to know your condition. You need to know that you need a mentor, or that you even need a counselor. Or, as she said earlier, you need to know the situations that you don't even need someone to get involved in. Like the Father can truly just walk you through it. So you don't always have to have someone right there speaking to you. When you get your questions, wait for your answers. If you're not getting your answers, reach out. If you need direction, you'll get your direction. You know, you need a comforter. You need the Holy Spirit. You need deliverance. Yes, you do. You need humility. You need to learn. And you need faith. And Paul had said, he had asked the question, have you received the Spirit of Yah? Now, first of all, this is based off of those of you who are listening having the Spirit of Yah, all right, with the evidence of speaking in tongues. But have you received the Spirit of Yah by the works of the law? That's what he asked. Did you, let's put it this way, did you receive Yah's Spirit because you were obeying Torah for 10 years now? We run into a lot of that. You know, did you receive a Spirit because you've been keeping Sabbath in the Seventh-day Adventist Church all your life? You know, have you received the Spirit of Yah by the works of the law? That's what he's asking. You know, because you ate clean for so long and you buy kosher and you don't mix your linen and your wool. Have you increased Yah's spirit because of these things, the works of the law? Have you? Or he says, did you receive the spirit by the hearing of faith? And Paul also says that, are you so foolish? This is on the flip side. Are you so foolish to start out with the Spirit? Meaning, now you got it. Now you've heard by faith. Now you've received Yah's Spirit. And he goes on to say, are you so foolish to begin in the Spirit and now you're made perfect by the flesh? Got his Spirit by faith, but now I'm perfect because I'm black. I'm going in. Or I got his Spirit by faith and I'm perfect because I'm praying every day, or because I'm eating clean, or because I'm buying kosher. Or, I got his Spirit, but I'm perfect because I'm keeping lunar Sabbath and they're not. Or I know all about the moon phases and they're not. This is foolishness. Don't tell me, sisters, that some of you don't think you're perfect because you don't need deliverance. And if you don't need deliverance and you don't need this ministry and you don't need your sisters and the sisters' love, you do not need Yah. Paul also speaks of the man that ministers the Spirit to you and works miracles amongst you, which just so happens to be Pastor Dow. Paul talks, hey, what about his faith? Because he is faithful. That's Paul's words. The one who ministers the Spirit to you and works miracles amongst you, he's faithful. I remember an interpretation that I know many of you have never experienced. I'm going to tell you probably 99% of you have not experienced, because I have not, and half of that bogus stuff out there in the Christian world and other churches is fake, phony, and cultish. But I remember an interpretation that we received where the Father said, listen to my faithful and righteous one. Listen to my faithful and righteous one. He admonished everyone and put his seal on Pastor Dow. Pastor wasn't given that interpretation, nor was he prophesying, nor had the Spirit fallen on him and he brought forth a word. No, he's not speaking that of his own self. And Paul is saying, what about his faith? Because he is faithful. He's a child of Abraham. He's offering you oil. He is casting pearls to the righteous. So, Jennifer, speak about where we should all be with our faith in this ministry and our faith in Pastor.
Another video. Pastor just rolls out the videos, and I'm telling you, we learned so much. But there was another video that Pastor did called Life Lessons of Faith. And you should listen to that video more than once, more than twice. You should just continually play it because it's an awesome teaching tool. But, Pastor said that faith is substance. It's evidence of something that you hoped for. And he gave the example of the home that he built. The house was the actual substance. Initially, that house was hoped for. It had been something that was not even seen yet, but it was hoped for. And so he coupled his faith with hard work to produce a home. And without the hard work, the house would not be there. There would be no evidence or no substance. So for all of us, we should be producing something tangible if we say we have faith. For example, with deliverance, you should be producing freedom, healing. There should be health. Mother Bullock, she sews. She produces the garments, that you see many of us wearing. So whatever it may be, there should be fruit from it, and that fruit should be something tangible. So it was just a great lesson, that Pastor gave us in that particular video. We should all be following the example of our leader. He said, we put in hard work to produce this home. But without the work, the faith would be dead. And so you have to have the work in order to produce the substance or the evidence. Without that, you have nothing but words. You have nothing but just a belief or an assurance. which is nothing if you don't put the actual work to it. So we should all be following that example, putting the work in toward whatever it is, that we are supposed to be doing.
Yes, ma'am. And remember, we stated earlier that we're not on the same levels. And I also stated, and if I haven't, if you have been here 5 years, you should have something to offer your sister. You should have some form of encouragement. You should have some confidence, some joy, some example of overcoming. You still have a long way to go, sure, but I was knee deep into deliverance at my 5-year mark, and had a long way to go, of course. Still do, but just a goal to look for, being in it 1 year, 3 year, 5 year. So your goal is always, looking in the mirror and getting delivered is to get Yah's fruit. When guilt and conflict arise, because it is inevitable that we will continually have a fight. So when guilt and conflict arise, it is to bring forth his fruit and to produce his fruit at that time that will prove your deliverance. So I don't know why we don't trust each other. Will we? I hope so. I have really high hopes. Why do we isolate ourselves from each other? I don't know, but we will. We've warred a long fight against the enemy. And for most of our lives, we didn't even fight against him. So we really got a lot of coming out to do in order to humble ourselves one for another, in order to help each other. And you do, as Jennifer said, need to produce some form of fruit for a sister to be able to eat off your tree, or for you to help, because being a help is the most edifying thing for you and for the flesh. You speak to the sisters here. That's why we operate the way that we do, because if we couldn't help somebody, we would, I don't want to say go crazy, because I'm careful with my speech, but it's so much so a part of us in helping one another that it's literally what we have to do. It's what we have to do. You get so much peace in knowing that, I was able to help her. I was able to keep that secret with her. I was able to minister to her. I was able to cast out that spirit. It's a very humbling experience for someone to ask you. And when I'm asked, and it's been a long time, but a long time ago, I remember being asked, what's it like to do so much deliverance, she's like, I never, partaken in it yet. I haven't got a lot of deliverance. What's it like to be a part of the deliverance crew a lot? Or how does it feel with, pastors supporting you as a deliverance worker? But I don't believe that there's any, let's say, I don't believe it's pastor support that people would come to me. I don't believe it's the show per se. Of course, I'm out there, so that's gonna get people asking me questions. I literally just believe that I have the heart to help you, and I have compassion, and I have a love for you that you see. And that's not an arrogance at all, because it's the most humbling, honorable state to be in, to lower yourself to someone else, to say, I'm here for you. And so that's how I answer that. It's very humbling for someone to trust in me with any form of a secret or any form of a disease that they need freedom from, and then to just be able to be used by the Father, which is continual confirmation that His hand is still upon you. So that's my story with deliverance, and I look forward to the day where there's so many of us that are successful deliverance workers that it actually doesn't stand out so much. Mother Carol doesn't jump out so much. You get your hands dirty, You do what's required of you. We bear our own fruit. That's really what I'm saying. You bear your own fruit. When your words measure up to your life, then you're going to get the respect that you demand out of other sisters. If you don't think sisters are coming to you, talking to you, respecting you, that's on you. I'm telling you, you got a lot of self-reflection and self-checking to do. You got a lot of changes to do. And you'd be surprised how much your loved ones or your sisters are even enduring you. When you get a good look at who you really are, you have been endured with. So we bear our own fruit. You know, Pastor can't put fruit on my tree. He can't put fruit on Jennifer's tree. I wouldn't have any if he had to run around with my fruit, if I had to give him all of mine, right? We have to bear our own. You have to bring forth the fruit worthy of being used by the Father in any aspect. Diane is very content in the background. Don't call my name, please. Don't ask me anything open. Just come to me if you need me. I will help you. I will drop whatever I'm doing in the middle of the night. Literally, she would flee from her home to help you. That's her lot. That's what she does, right? So we all need to have this amount of humility and compassion to love one another. And I gotta, before I go to you, Jennifer, on any more thoughts, I gotta throw out some of my sisters' names on the land, because you got Sister Diane, you know, that I do go to her for one-on-one help, because I know that she is not going to be, you know, imbalanced in her judgment. She's never going to side with me. So I greatly appreciate that. And there's not, as I said earlier, a single situation that she can't help with. You know, Sister Vicky, you have to be determined to get to know her. You know, she's a very private person. That's been her personality her whole life, and she's not going to change for you. But the amount of information that she has to offer is truly overwhelming. Like, you have to sit down with pen and paper. So I appreciate what she's given me. You know, you got Sister Nellie. Go to her when you want the truth and nothing but the truth, without wavering. Go to Sister Heather when you need encouragement, when you're feeling heavy and you want to smile, because she's always smiling and she's always laughing. And when you're heavy and you feel down, go to her. You know, you got Grandma Barb. I told you earlier, go to her for the wealth and knowledge that she offers. Everyone who has ever stepped here goes through her in some way, you know, and she's never complaining about the innumerable documents that no one has ever returned to her, because that happens, right? Should we have to wait on somebody to be available? I don't know. I get asked that a lot. People feel like the saints and the sisters are busy. We are. There's always something going on, because we just don't sit down and make excuses. If you want to be used, or if you want to be counseled, you just got to reach out, and you got to be patient. So in due season, you are going to get your oil. With persistence, you're going to get everything that you need. Jennifer?
You know, if I'm going to Straitway and I need help with deliverance in a particular area, or, you know, whatever it may be, as soon as I get on the land, I already know who I'm going to go to. So I go to that particular sister and I say, I'm here until this day. Will you have time to help me? So when I first get there, I make it known that I have a request, and I've never received a no at all, because I make sure that I give plenty of time to put my request in there. And the sisters always make sure that they're available for whatever I need. If I wait until the last minute, if I wait until the day that I'm leaving, you know, of course, they're so kind that they're going to make sure that they try to help me, but I don't want to put them in that position. So I want to be mindful of their schedule. They will always help me regardless of what they have going on, but I still want to be very mindful, and I want to be respectful of their time and their schedules as well. So, you know, when I go there, if something is a priority to me, then I make sure that I let them know ahead of time. And, you know, I know that Mother Carol and Sister Ashley are used a lot in deliverance. And, you know, for them, they first increase their talents and gifts. And as a result, their gift made room for them. So if you continue to use your talents wisely, and you truly do have a desire in your heart to help, then you truly will be used. When I first came into the faith, again, I put the work in and just increased the information and the wisdom and the knowledge that the Father gave me in deliverance and learning about spiritual warfare, herbal knowledge, you know, home birth, whatever it was. Their are women now who actually come to me for help. So it's not about, Mother Carol and Sister Ashley are the busiest because, Pastor calls their names a lot. No, they're actually willing to put in the work to actually help. So make sure that you're available and take initiative and let sisters know that you are available to help. Ask some of the seasoned sisters who have been doing this consistently for wisdom so that you can become effective. Tell Yah that you truly do desire to be used and show it by putting the work in, and then see what substance you produce from that.
Very good, and I didn't and won't ever forget the remaining names of some of my sisters around here that you can glean from. And most importantly, upon arriving here, asking questions and making themselves in a place to where they can help. You got Angelica, you got Jordan, you got Sister Carolina. Of course, Mother Ruth is going to uplift you with her kind speech, and even Tomoko and Sirza. Everyone here has something to offer. Living set apart all these years, okay? They're on different levels, and living set apart is going to put you on a different level of thinking so that you can be used, not that you can be exalted or arrogant. So, I want you to explain this, Sister Jennifer. I don't really know how to word the question, but just like the word equality comes to mind, the equality issues that we may have amongst ourselves would actually keep you from going to one another. Let's say it like this: if I want to be used, but yet nobody's coming to me, why? Or if I want to be used and I'm not being used enough to stay on top of this gift, what do you suggest? What's coming to mind?
Sometimes it can be we're unable to overcome accusations, which lead to a lack of trust. So, whether it be someone who may not want to go to a particular person, well, I haven't heard this particular sister's name called out in deliverance. Pastor's never said their name before, so, I don't think I can go to her. So there's like a lack of trust or a fear that, even a fear that we will be treated the way that we have treated others, things that we haven't resolved in relationships with our sisters. So, we fear that the things that we refuse to let go of in our own hearts will turn and manifest in the relationship between the deliverance worker and the person who actually is needing help. So, there's things like rejection or betrayal. We hear those accusations, but we just don't let those things go. And then the deliverance worker might experience rejection in their mind. Why is no one ever coming to me? And if you don't lay that voice to rest, and if you continue to allow it to minister to you, then you're going to believe it. You're going to believe that you're no good to be used at all. So, those are just a couple things that come to my mind.
Yes, ma'am. So how would y'all think about me or anyone who, just comes here to Straitway and decides to, I'm equal with them. I'm ready to teach them, show them, point out to them the error of their ways, correct them, put them in order, after they've labored so long for the Father. And I said before, these shows that we do, they aren't for the sisters here. I learn everything I know from the manifestation of righteousness through my sisters here. They are my mentors, my teachers, my counselors, my peers. So I'm not walking around here equal or above by any means. I'm in great need. I'm in great need, and I learn daily and continually. I get reproved daily, continually, through their speech, through something that they're doing that I'm not, a way that I lack. This is the beauty of living on set-apart soil. So you've said to me, Jennifer, in private talks, that your whole walk has to be about deliverance every day. if I'm not misquoting you. Can you explain this? What does that mean, deliverance every day?
Yes, ma'am. It's not meaning that, I'm going to sit down in this chair and I'm going to ask someone to help me every single day cast the spirit out. It means that my mind is geared toward deliverance. So I'm actively aware that there's a battle going on in my mind, and I need to be aware of the thoughts that take place in my mind, and I need to ask myself, okay, is this a holy thought or is this an unholy thought? And if there's an unholy thought that comes across, then I need to quickly check it, and I have to take the word. That's why you have to have the word, and you have to take the word to turn that thought around and make it a right thought. And it'll try to come at you again, and you have to do the same thing. So you have to continue to do it on a daily basis, but you can't be so distracted by daily activities that you're not paying attention to your thoughts, because what will happen is you'll start to believe these unholy, unrighteous, negative thoughts, and then before you know it, you're actually acting those things out. So, you have to walk out a way of deliverance every day in your mind, and you have to be keenly aware of your thoughts, and you have to know where those thoughts are coming from, if they're healthy thoughts or if they're not healthy at all, because they will eventually begin to take a toll on your body as well.
Yes, ma'am. So going back to even my own personal testimony in the beginning, when I was getting deliverance so often and so much to the point where spirits were it seemed like they were just always manifesting. Although I noticed that I was continually getting freedom, I want to talk about this for a moment, some of the voices that you encounter, because when you engage into this warfare, a whole new ball game comes at you. And I remember when I came in, I was getting a lot, and because I was with a mature crowd and they had already received years of deliverance, the voice that I had or that I heard that could have, potentially gotten worse as it presented itself would be, if I had listened to it, I wouldn't be as free as I am today, because I don't know what voices y'all are dealing with that's hindering your deliverance. But some of the things was, is something wrong with me? Am I getting deliverance too much? Am I getting lasting deliverance because I don't see others getting it? Even though I'm not supposed to be looking around, right? I'm still trying to keep my eyes single. I'm going, am I just the only one that's jacked up? It was trying to come on me as like an embarrassment. And I could imagine at the time, spirits trying to speak to me as what someone else might be thinking. Let's just paint this picture. Okay, Sister B, right? I'm Sister A, here's Sister B, not getting much deliverance. And the battle you might be thinking is, wow, something's always wrong with her. It could come very accusatory. Or she's really jacked up, and I'm not tormented like Ashley. I'm fine. And the majority of our listeners, sisters, come on, you don't receive opportunity for deliverance, so you really don't know how jacked up you are. And hopefully, you're walking these things out, especially if you're far away. You're walking out these deliverances with the Father and getting freedom and peace of mind with His relationship. But there is a spiritual warfare. I used to hear in my mind when I was literally almost every time I was going after deliverance, like, it's taking too long. We just need to go down the hill and eat, right? Because it was Sabbath. So you just hear all these voices. But Jennifer, let's compare these two situations. What is wrong with the sister getting deliverance every week? What was wrong with me doing that, if there is anything? Because maybe there can be. Maybe there is an issue when someone's getting deliverance every week and all the time continually. How would you know and discern between the two, and at the same time answer the aspect of the sister that has had one or two deliverances in 4 years?
As long as there is a true understanding of repentance and a true understanding of deliverance, and you're noticing visible fruit every week, if you're the sister getting deliverance every week, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you don't understand repentance and you have no fruit, but you're still coming week after week, then deliverance is not working for you because you're not putting in the proper work. It's not that the deliverance tool is wrong. It's that you're approaching it the wrong way. But if you truly understand repentance and deliverance, and you're noticing visible fruit every week, there's nothing wrong with it. If you're at a point where you think you don't need deliverance at all, without deliverance, it would be extremely difficult to walk this walk, and we could easily return to our vomit without it. Even be careful if you're only interested in self-deliverance and nothing else, If you're surrounded by capable people and you're content with not asking for help, that is a very dangerous place of pride, and there are trust issues that need to be resolved. If you are, getting deliverance, say once a month, I don't know, once every 3 months, whatever, maybe you don't need to actually ask someone for help as much. But as long as you're keenly aware in your thoughts that, okay, I still have spirits that I need to fight. I still have spirits that try to submit thoughts to my mind. As long as you're aware of that and you're seeing fruit in your life, then you're fine. The thing is, you have to see fruit in your life, and you will know it because the people that are surrounding you will tell you that there's a change in you. It's not something that you'll be able to discern just on your own, but the people that are around you will be able to tell you that, you're a changed person. I noticed that you have peace in this area, whereas before, you didn't. And Sister Ashley, you talked about, thoughts that you could potentially deal with. Some of the thoughts that, you really have to, the devil might come to you with is, why do I always manifest like this? Or why don't I manifest like she does? Or, the devil will try to say, that I really didn't get deliverance. So those are things that you have to make sure that, you have to have the faith and understand that the devil is going to try to come to you and discourage you any kind of way because, of course, he's not going to want his workers cast out of you, because then his kingdom is not going to advance the way that he wants it to. So you just have to really understand that there will be accusations that will come with it along the way.
Yes, there is a more excellent way, a true discernment and spiritual warfare that produces long-term freedom for you. You have to find your freedom. Your testimony isn't mine. But if you're waiting on change to come without any remorse or without even seeking help, you're deceived. Because somewhere there is someone with the tool to help you. And maybe, because Yah is such a masterful worker, depending on where you are, there's just different people amongst the body that's there for you. But you just have to reach out. You have to buy the oil. How can we be deceived, sisters? You should be becoming better. You should be becoming a great wife, a great woman, seeing great improvements in yourself. Not just running to and fro from work, with just Yah on your mind. I thought about him a little bit this morning when I woke up. I played a half of a message on the way to work. I hope you're trying to really put him into your day so that you can reap the most amount of freedom that is at your fingertips. So his increase that he gives you is immediate nature changes. If you're lazy, now you're going to want to work. If you sit, now you're going to want to get up. If you're crying now, you might want to suck it up and be tough, move on. Or maybe if you never cried, now you're going to cry. There's just a lot of opposite transitions that need to happen. Where is our remorse for the state that we are in? As a people, as sisters, as daughters, get past just even your own self and your own situation. Where is the remorse for our people? It is a time of mourning now. It is a call to repentance now. It's a day of sorrow. Jennifer, what's remorse supposed to be like versus, per se, a spirit of heaviness or condemnation? How would I be able to discern between the two when I'm supposed to have joy in the Holy Spirit? What's my remorse supposed to manifest like?
I think about remorse. I think about godly sorrow. We all have messed up, but what Yah is looking for is a response, a godly response, a godly sorrow. How you've sinned against him. You have to first and foremost acknowledge that, and how we've let him down, how we've hurt our sisters or our brothers. And godly sorrow is different than worldly sorrow in that you truly repent properly so you don't repeat the same offense. You don't keep going through the same thing over and over again. If you've repented properly and you personally feel the pain of what you have caused, and that is what keeps you from committing the same act again. And I think what we miss a lot of times is we never personally feel the pain of the offense of what we have caused, and that's what keeps us repeating the same thing over and over again. And so, in order to get there, your ways and your thoughts have to be assimilated to the thoughts and ways of the Most High, because we have to think the way that he thinks. We have to operate in his ways. We have to know his ways to even know that we've sinned against him, that we've caused an offense against him, and that we've sinned and caused an offense against his people. So, once you have personally felt that pain, again, you're not going to be inclined to repeat that same thing. And that truly is, that's the true remorse that he's looking for, the true godly sorrow that he's looking for.
Yes, ma'am, because we are on different levels of fear in the Father. And I remember early on not having any fear of him, just enough to get me in the door, per se, just enough to give me the Holy Spirit, give me a little bit of understanding and set me on my journey. And I just remember confessing to the Father that I didn't know what it was like to need him. I didn't know what it was like to fear hey, this is what just happened, this is what I just did, this is the sin that's staining me, but I actually don't care. I would have to tell him that. These things are not even impacting me. This is how far my heart has been from you. I feel like I'm going through the motions. And so he would always get me where I needed to be, to the point where you can grow in fear and you can have a great sorrowful, godly sorrowful impact on your soul when you commit a trespass against him, because that's your goal. It's not to just continue to stay so far from him that you don't have any emotional assimilation to him. So when you don't need Yah, you don't need his tools. And you don't need his love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. You say you need those things, but your function is speaking different if you're not going out and buying, if you're not going out and doing what is required of you to change. So if you need his tools, then you need him. It's that simple. But in this self-seeking, pleasurable society where distractions carry us from day to day, and you don't have time to even stop and need Yah, it produces such a generation of unbelief. And unbelief is great sin. The fearful, the unbelieving shall have their parts in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone. It is the second death. That's Revelation 21. You don't need these things in your heart. Unbelief in pastor. Unbelief in Yah's way. Unbelief in his rule. Unbelief in his operation, his order. Unbelief in biblical marriage. Unbelief in Yah's existence. This is sin in you. And the two things that will stop and halt a deliverance and stop you from growing is, of course, sin, willing or ignorant, sin, and pride. Pride hinders so many, and pride is what keeps you deceived in believing that you're continually growing or overcoming when you're actually not getting deliverance at all, because you're not seeking out Yah's tools set before you. So belief is walked out. I believe in deliverance, so I do it, I get it, and I help with it. I believe in living set apart, so I stay set apart. I believe I need Yah, so I pray and cry to him. Now remember the prophet that could do no mighty work except the healing of just a few sick folks? And this prophet marveled because of the amount of unbelief. And we're also taught, that the gospel is preached and it doesn't profit some because it's not mixed with faith. So these are just basics. I know, but we have to come on board. We got to grow, sisters. We really do. I hope you're encouraged by this talk today, because some listening, you may never call in. I don't understand that, because this is the people that I've embraced wholeheartedly. And not that calling in is even a requirement, but simply making yourself known and saying, I need Yah's manifestation of his people in my life to minister to me. It's just humbling yourself, saying, I have a need. Some listening would, puff themselves up. This is the things that we've, over the years, you see the same repetitious human nature. We are not that complex. Some listening would just, they puff themselves up higher than those on the land, because those of us here were just some misfits, some misfit crew submitted to some blind leader, some off-the-wall brainwashing. All these accusations, they just come back around the same circle, the same words. Some listening, they can't wait to hear one word to support their lack of faith or their unbelief. Maybe Jennifer will say it. Maybe Ashley will say it. Maybe the pastor, maybe today, staying up all night waiting on the next video just to, yep, I knew it. The ministry's not of Yah, They're saying exactly what this person over here on this website is saying about them. That's it. But some of you, this is our life. This is the only way. And we got to take it very serious, because we've never committed. Being in your 20s and your 30s, and you're still young and you're operating in a lot of vanity, you haven't really committed your life to anything for long term. And this is it. This is the first time. So the seriousness and the fear doesn't come at first. But this is life. This is our only way. This is the straight way. Some of you, you're humbled by knowing nothing. Some of you are so humble in nature, humbled at pastor's presence, just humbled at the ministry in general. And therefore, you know what? You are benefiting and growing because of your humility. Without humility, you're not going to go far. So I got to ask you, Sister Jennifer, what do you expect from someone that's been listening for 1 year?
If you've been listening for 1 year, Pastor always says, make yourself known when you first connect with the ministry. So make yourself known. Let the people on the land, let the ministry know that you're out there. Call the dining hall. Let them know that you're listening. You should be at a point where you know that this is the ministry that is led by Yah himself through his shepherd. You should listen to all broadcasts and videos being put out by the ministry, making sure that you absorb and learn as much as possible. You should try to connect and fellowship with, other believers that are connected in the ministry. You should be realizing that, you need the deliverance and the healing, the baptism of the Holy Spirit, and seeking these things genuinely. So, and then, you should be at a point of maturity within a year that regardless of what you see or hear, those things don't sway you at all. I listened to Sister Misty call in, and she was so upset because she said, I hear people say things, and it's so upsetting because I know it's not true. Now, she's a new sister listening. So already within the first year, she hasn't even been connected a year. So she already knows that this is the ministry that is led by Yah himself.
So if I've been listening 3 years, what do you expect of me?
You should still be doing the same as as you were doing in the 1 year, but you should be actually more mature. You should be working to assimilate to the people who you're around. The people who follow the same faith that you do. You're more mature. There's fruit of your growth. You should be at a mature point where the ministry can actually rely on you to help other new people who may be listening as well. But, you start realizing that, you need to start assimilating, and you start learning a little bit more about community life as well.
All right, and last question. If I've been listening 5 years or even beyond, what's required of me or expected, at least from your opinion tonight? What do you expect of me?
I remember Pastor saying that, you don't truly get to a point of starting to understand the ministry until you hit that 5-year mark. And so, still, you should be doing the work of staying connected, listening to every broadcast, listening to the messages, being fed by the word. But you've matured even more, and you really, truly do start to understand the ministry, community living, tribal mentality on such a mature level. And you should constantly be growing in prayer and warfare as well, because you're more aware that there's enemies out there who actually don't like the people of Yah. They don't like, righteousness. You're committed to stay in touch and in communication with mature saints. The ministry should still be able to count on you even more in a greater capacity for you to help other people who are looking for fellowship just like you were when you were at your 1-year mark. And they should be confident in knowing that, you will be able to help them with deliverance. And then there should be even further assimilation as well at the 5-year mark, because you understand so much more.
Yes, ma'am. And anything beyond that, sisters, I would have to say, any year beyond that, you would have a great requirement of mercy and humility on you that you would need to be able to express through your speech, one-on-one, just through your prayer life with the Father, because you're very merciless when you're brand new. You do not have mercy on those around you who make errors or mistakes. It is all magnified. You have a huge beam in your eye. So you just got to know this. That's all. It's not even a discouragement. I used to hear these things like, man, I don't see that. I got a beam. I'm brand new, and I'm wanting to be like 25 years plus living this thing. I want to understand like them. You got to grow. You got to go through it, and it's going to take a lot of humility just for the Father to lead and guide you. It's going to take your commitment to the faith, unwavering, no matter how many times you fall, your assimilation to the Father, to your husband. We have a tall order. It can happen. We can do this. So at that 5-year mark, you better have something to offer, no matter what it is. You should have some mercy. You should stop all the judgmentalism and the criticism. Your prayers should change. And any year past 10, 12, and 15 and all that, guess what? I don't know. I ain't been there. But what you're doing behind the scenes to believe, to increase, to fight, to buy oil, Yah is watching you. He's seeing you. He's pleased or he's not. He's a very concrete Yah. You don't have to prove to me. I used to think early on, I used to have to run around here proving to Pastor that I was busy or that I was doing something, or that I wanted to live here. I got to prove to him I want to live here, And I know the enemies would just hinge on those words right there and go make a what is it called? A sound bite on YouTube. Yep, brainwashed, led by man, whatever, right? Whatever. I actually just developed a relationship with the Father, with Pastor as my lead, and was able to go, oh, okay, it's my fear in Yah that's driving me, or at least trying to, drive me to please this man of Yah, to make sure I stay out of his way, get out of his face. You've been in this thing 4 or 5 years, 10, whatever your year is. You should not be a weight or a burden on the leaders of the elders. Your name should not ever be mentioned. I know we are a generation of, if you don't say my name, you're not thinking about me, and I'm rejected. But that's not how our leaders operate. They got us all in mind, every single one of us. They know your spirit literally upon arrival. So it's not your faults that are magnified. It is the glory of the Father through you and everything that you're doing behind the scenes that is really making you a wise virgin. Remember that. So get rid of all the unbelief in you. Get rid of your sin. Purge yourself of your pride. Get ready for this Passover. You don't have to prove anything to anyone here when you come here. You don't got to be nervous in anybody's presence. Yah will prove you. Yah will test you. He's got the same eyes on you where you are right now in your living room or in your car as the same eyes on you when you get to this land. He is your focus. He is your Father and your Creator. He is the one that is listening to your murmuring and your complaining. He is the one that notices you don't have mercy. He is the one you cry to. All right? Do we have anyone that wants to call in tonight? 515-602-9654. We got one. We went a little over. Let's take these phone calls. Make it quick, sisters. Get to the point. All right? Area code 917. You're live on Sister to Sister.
Shalom.
Shalom.
This is Sister Esther. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, Sister Esther. Bless you. What say you?
Bless you, man. Shalom. I'm just excited hearing this blog talk today. Oh. Okay, so anyway, I just want to say thank you for letting the Father use you, Sister Jennifer and Sister Ashley, for this blog talk. Really, really, I don't even know where to begin. I feel like I'm just getting rebuked and reproved and all of the above, always. But this one particularly, because I think I was talking to you during my stay at Straitway that, it's just right on. So I'm just grateful. I can't even explain it, but I'm just thankful that the Father is using you and giving me the ears to hear as well, so I could be like, damn, Esther, there's too much of me and less of the Father, and I'm not seeking the Father more. So it's like, wow. It's just beautiful just to hear the Father, the Spirit ministering to me as I listen to the blog talk. So thank you.
Oh, bless you. Thank the Father first and foremost, of course. And you are growing. You are a bubbling excitement. So keep that at the forefront of your mind when the enemy wants to remind you of who your old man is. Remind him of where you are going and how far you've been, all right?
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to say thank you again to Pastor and Mother Carol for opening their, the land to us as we stayed and for a quick winter recess. I think I needed that, like, more than anything. This was just like, last weekend was the highlight of, like, the month of February. Like, I think I needed just this spiritual uplifting, just to be around the saints. And just to see the growth of my sisters, really want to admonish Sister Jordan just being a servant. I was like, wow, there's too many, like Sister Tiffany had said one time, there's too many Marthas and less Marys. I was like, wow, like, this sister is like a servant, like, literally up bright and early and no fussing and have so much joy. I'm just so thankful that Sister Jordan was able to show me really how to be more of a servant. So thank you, Sister Jordan, for letting the Father use you as well, and just to minister to me by just being a servant. And as well as Mama Bob, oh man, I'm so grateful, Mama Bob, for just putting your life for us and just helping us while we were there and without fussing, and just have the right spirit. I don't know where to begin, but even that short time that I spent with you over there, just seeing how much of a servant you are, it's just really encouraging me to be like, man, I need to do better. I thought I was a servant just when I thought I was. The Father is like, there's always more work to be done, Esther. So I'm just grateful that I was around you, the sisters, just to see how they lay their lives for other sisters without even, wavering or anything. It's just like, wow. So just grateful for that. Thank you, Sister Ashley, for spending time with me, and Sister Jennifer, just how talk we had doing washing dishes. I was just like, well, we could even. I can't get comfortable by washing dishes with another sister. It was just so uplifting. So I'm just grateful. I could go on and say thank you to everybody, but I'm just so grateful that I had the moment to be around you guys and be lifted and just be encouraged. There's so much to be learned, and I think my book is just like, now it's full with direction that I need to do. Now I just need to work it out and faith. So thank you. That's all I have.
Oh, bless you. You're so welcome.
Bless you.
Hallelujah. Didn't mean to cut you off. Yes, Sister Jordan is a servant amongst us Indeed. If she didn't hear you, I will tell her the message tomorrow. Sister Esther had a good point. You do learn by observance. So remember, your answers, most of your answers, if you would just learn to be quiet, most of your answers come without verbalizing your questions. That's how the Father operates, especially here anyway. Okay, I know some of you have to reach out and verbalize more questions because you don't live amongst us, but for me, I get my answers all day, every day by waiting, watching, observing, and just listening. Sister Jennifer, end the show.
Daughters of Zion, we got to prepare our hearts for Passover. What an awesome opportunity it is to be invited. And so I just pray that we all would just partake in the delivering power that He's given us, use the tools that He's given us, and that we would just come with our hearts prepared. So blessings to you all, and we will not see you next week, but we will be with you next week when you tune in for another episode of Sister to Sister. Shalom to you.
And Yahweh Elohim said,
"It is not good for the man to be alone. I am going to make a helper for him as his counterpart."
Holy Yahweh Almighty, we're singing holy.